making the title AI for All very much appropriate for a discussion on what it is about and what can you, how can you be part of this revolution. I'm going to share my screen. All right, are you able to see my screen? Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So feel free to speak up to me because sometimes I won't be able to read the chat box. If there is a message or is a question, please feel free to speak up, right? And let me know what that question is. Now, the agenda that I have in mind for our session today is to give you an overview of what exactly is AI, because there's a lot of confusion before ChatGPT, and now with ChatGPT in the picture, how is that more clarifying? So we're going to talk a lot of basics about what AI is fundamentally and how it impacts in our daily lives, and what is the current adoption of AI and where can you start if you would like to be part of this revolution in terms of transforming your work and your business using AI, right? So I look, my plan for the event today is I will go through this sharing till 4 o'clock, and then we will open up for questions at the end of the session. Okay. Now, what is AI actually? So as we have understood before the era of GPT, artificial intelligence is what AI is about. So artificial intelligence basically means that we have machines that can actually translate speech, right? From text to speech, speech to text. We have machines that can recognize images. That's part of computer vision. And we also have the concept of natural language processing. Now, natural language processing is the algorithm sort of programming that actually takes place to help speech to be translated either from text to speech or speech to text, right? So this is where we have ChatGPT coming in to play a huge role, because it's able to understand a language. It can process a language very well, and how this processing actually can be used as an intelligence into our existing decision support systems. Decision support systems for corporate would include procurement. In regular businesses and entrepreneurship, it would include accounting. It would include business planning. It would include customer service, customer support. So how is it that chatbots can recognize the questions from the customers and support the customers, right, to attend to a set of FAQs? So that's what we call the planning optimization of the current businesses and corporate. And of course, robotic is the physical form of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence itself is generally a device, right? The brain that can perceive its environment and take action to maximize its goal. So every artificial intelligence has a goal behind it, right? You can think of it as a brain, right? And the robotic is the body. Now, when you have a brain, so the brain has got a goal, like I want to make a decision about what should I do today, given that the weather is cold and I'm having a bit of a flu, for example. These are some of the information. And at my goal here is to make a decision on whether I should go to work or not, or go to school or not. So that's what we call a goal. So every artificial intelligence has got a purpose for it, and it's got a goal that it needs to pursue. right? So with that in mind, when we think about how can we incorporate AI into our daily life, our business, our work, we've got to think about its purpose and what its goal is supposed to be. So that is what it does. It is a device which can be embedded into the existing systems without a body. So when you have a body, you have robotic, right? So in most recent, in 2023, we asked ChatGPT, what is AI, right? So what it said is that AI stands for artificial intelligence, is a result of applying cognitive science. Cognitive science is the thinking science to artificially create something. Something here means to pursue a particular goal, and that performs tasks that only humans can perform, like reasoning, natural communication, and problem solving. AI is important because it has the potential to help humans become better at completing cognitive tasks, right? So it can do thinking, it can also do the doing, which is very important to automate some tasks which is repetitive. So it potentially helps people do better at their work, at their business. So this definition is given by ChatGPT, right? So how is AI connected? Now, AI connected to machine learning. Any technique that enables machine to mimic human behavior is what we call AI. That's the early part of AI in the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, right? So there was that idea to say that we want to come up with a technique, an algorithm, a calculation, a machine that can mimic human behavior so that it can help us do things which are difficult or repetitive. So that was the early idea on AI. And that was very exciting back then. Then in the 20s, we started to really develop models. We call machine learning models, where you can, like if you remember in school, you spoke about regression analysis, right? Where you've got the Y, that is a dependent variable, and you've got the X, which is the independent variable, which are the factors which will influence the Y. So that is a very basic fundamental concept of machine learning, where you have a factor and what is the influence of that factor on a goal. So that was the start of machine learning, and it was part of the AI revolution, right? So it was continuing with the revolution. Now, when deep learning happened, now deep learning is machine learning, but it has got the ability of doing multi-layer neural network within its processes, meaning it's not just X influences the Y as per the machine learning setup algorithm, but it also has the ability where X becomes in intermediary, a new variable called X1, and then X1 becomes X2, X3, X4, and then finally it sort of becomes a better influencer of the Y. So this transformation or changing X is what we call deep learning, where it's how the brain works. It's kind of how the brain works, where you see something with your eyes, that's the X, but your brain has an ability to process what you see using your cultural background or your educational background and whatever other biases or stereotypes or critical thinking abilities that you have. And the output of that is your decision of what to do with what you see could differ from a person to person. And that's why it's different from person to person, because everyone has got a different set of beliefs and backgrounds. And so what you see may be the same, but what you do with what you see is different, because there is that internal layered learning that happens within our brain when it perceives things. So that's what we call deep learning. which the machines can also do now, right? And that is the boon of AI, where it can learn within processes to processes, within processes. It's not just dependent on the external factor. It also can encompass the internal factor. That is what's happening now. It is driving the AI boom that we are experiencing today. And that's the result of ChatGPT also. ChatGPT is the product of that deep learning, the ability to process language, plus the ability to learn much better, to deep learn, right? And that's what's driving its adoption all over the world. So you remember these movies? It's kind of old. Anyone can guess the first one? The first picture here?
It should be the Terminator, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. That's Terminator. Good job. What about the next one?
No idea, but I know the one with Will Smith as iRobot.
iRobot. Yes. Anyone else knows this? Do I have an answer in the chat? No, not yet. So that's for you to guess. You can Google up on what are the AI movies this is and what about this one. What about this? Can anyone recognize this, the second one? No? So I'm going to give you time at the end of the session. Guess these two AI movies that you're not able to. Okay, so this is what AI used to be in the movies. This is how it's depicted in the movies, right? But this is not actually the true picture of AI, right? So you have the half human and half machine element here. And here you have just machines with very little intelligence to it, right? So the question then comes is, aren't robots AI? Or are AI robots? Like I mentioned from the first slide, robotic is the physical component of a machine, while artificial intelligence is the brain of the machine. So robots are not all robots, or all robots are not intelligent, and artificial intelligence all do not have a robot body. So if you want a combination of a body and a brain together, that's where this overlap happens, where you build smart machines. And these smart machines is what we call artificially intelligent robots. So like ChatGPT is just an AI. It doesn't have a body. It's a software, right? So if you would like to incorporate ChatGPT into a robot to serve your parents or your child at home, for example, then you will need an artificially intelligent robot. All right. So that is a myth that I would like to debunk. Yes, very good. Ex machina. Very good. That's the right answer. So one more to go. Okay, so robotics and artificial intelligence overlapping is what we call artificially intelligent robots. So not all robots are intelligent. Not all artificial intelligence have got a body and a robot. So I hope that sort of debunks the myth about robots and AI. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are many types of AI on the first page, and the purpose and the goal is set to be oriented for the intelligence, meaning the intelligence has to be directed towards a certain goal. So it has to learn, and it has to output, right, or process a particular purpose. For example, there are 4 types of goal-oriented intelligence. The first is for it to do particular tasks like coffee machines, right? Where you put the cup and then you press the button and it could make a hot coffee. That's what we call the lowest level of intelligence, right? It doesn't really think much. It's just all automated process of milk and coffee coming in into the cup, and then the timing set, and then the heat, the temperature and everything. That's the lowest level, which is a reactive machine. And then the second higher level would have a limited memory. For example, traffic lights, right? So traffic lights that are at our roads and streets, those are basically having a certain set memory of time, temperature. It has like capture of car movement, so that you can adjust, so that it can automatically adjust the timing on the traffic light, right? So it can do that. That's a second level, which is a limited memory. It's got limited ability to carry a memory and learn, right? And then the third level, the higher level, is where it can do emotions. It can focus on emotions. It can detect emotions. It can read ideas, right? So this is where we have example like Canva. You know, if all of you are using the tool, like a very basic tool like Canva or PowerPoint, it can generate a form of emotion-related content, right? Because it's kind of automated on what you need. Even your emails today, it can complete the sentences for you, right? So you can focus on emotion, idea, thoughts, and object. Then the highest level is what we're talking about, self-aware artificial intelligence, which has the advanced capability of decision-making, full of emotions and ability to respond. This example would be a Tesla, right? So it is an autonomous organism where it's completely self-aware, right? Artificially intelligent, and is able to make decisions based on the feed it's receiving, also based on the historical input of what it has experienced. So it can remember, and it can enhance its decision making. And that is the highest order of artificial intelligence. So it's got many levels, and it's almost like bringing up a child, right? So when it's a baby or when it's a toddler, then it grows up to be a kid, and then an adult, a teenager, and an adult, right? So you got to keep training, teaching it stuff, right? For it to get better and better. So all these are different levels of artificial intelligence, but they are all goal-oriented. That is, you must give them a task to complete, and given that their memory and their ability to process complex information, it will be able to respond for whichever goal that we have, for whichever level. So that is why, because of the levels of automation and AI, we have AI in our daily life. So when you use your smartphones, all of you have Siri, right? Where you press and then it can answer your questions, or it can search stuff for you, it can play songs for you. So that's the capability, AI capability you have in your phone. We also have AI security and surveillance, where it could detect motion and make triggers, right, based on motions, which can be a surveillance, predictive surveillance, that is based on the certain motion. You can determine whether that's an actual attempt of robbery or not, right? Or attempt of aggression, attempt of violence. You can be a little bit more predictive about it, because it can process images from the video, security video, and that is very helpful to combat crime, for example. And it's, of course, in social media, you have the ability to detect, identify, and eliminate any form of threats, for example, or any form of the filters that happens that Facebook, or TikTok or Instagram, when they realize that some videos are not meant for public consumption, then the intelligence of the platform is able to filter that out, right? And all this is automatic detection and filtering systems of information retrieval that happens to keep social media safe, right? And navigation like Waze, right? Or Google Maps. We have the ability to understand time of how long it's going to be taking us to reach a particular destination, right? E-commerce. So if you have checked out and you have forgotten or you have abandoned your cart, then there is the email automation that actually happens to trigger customers on payments and checkouts they need to do. So you can see that there are variety across industry, banking and finance industry as well, ability to detect fraud, ability to detect transactions which are fraudulent or suspicious activities, right? So all this is incorporating AI elements to ensure that we can take the shortest possible time to detect a particular event, let it be a particular goal, which is an event like fraud or a certain suspicious activity, so that we can intercept very quickly to prevent the crime or to capture or warrant the crime before it completes or before it finishes. And of course, autonomous vehicles are becoming more popular now. That car has the ability to self-drive, and of course, having smartphones. So you can see that as a consumer, everyone is having a touch of how AI actually improves lives, right? So this has become an opportunity because people are comfortable in using machines for their daily work, life, and that's where the opportunity is for us to continue to leverage on this comfort to grow our work, to make it better, how we can use AI to make our work better. Okay. So businesses have got this for a long time now, face recognition. We no longer have to tap the entries. We can just recognize the face to ID the person. So you have the KYC element, right? The KYC, know your customer, where you can do it digitally. You can have chatbots as well, where chatbots answer all the customer questions. AI assistants like Siri, and then you can convert. If you use Office 365 today, you can just dictate and it can write for you in Microsoft Word document. You can also do a AI assisted writing check, editorial check. You don't need a person actually to go through your writing articles. Like my publications, I don't really need a person anymore to go through this because I can use Grammarly to identify mistakes and give me corrections which are better than what I can write, right? So the comfort level of using AI in a daily life is pretty helpful to work. And of course, in entertainment, or so like social media, Netflix, we have the ability of, for example, in Netflix or Prime, for example, or Disney Plus, when we browse, we have a homepage, and in the homepage, Netflix or streaming companies actually have the ability to recommend movies to us, right? So you can see a recommended list of movies, and most of the time it's quite good. The reason is because there is an AI recommender engine which studies your watch history. It studies the rating for the movies. It studies the search you've made on movie titles. It also can identify what devices you are watching it on and how long you pause your movie, or how often do you actually pause and watch again. and then what is the genre of the show, right? And what is your payment like? So based on this user behavior or consumer behavior, streaming companies like Netflix are able to make very good recommendation of the movies that you should watch. Similarly for Spotify, right? Because they are able to have algorithms, AI algorithms, to crunch the big data that comes from user behavior and browsing patterns, right? From even social media or search engine optimizations from their websites. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Anyone has any questions? And I know if there are any of you, what is your background like? Are most of you doing business or are you working? Business consultant, right? So I assume most of you are doing business. Yeah. So automation is always great to help us save time, right? So with that in mind, is when we have recommended engines and we have AI automation, we have the ability to manage and control more elements in our life, so that we can have less uncertainty and more better risk management abilities, right? And the ability to sell better and to be more targeted, right? So I have that confidence in these automation tools in technology to have the ability to support, to improve our work, our business. And that is definitely something that I think many of us really appreciate and has an upskill or a reskill, whichever industry you belong to, even if it is the F&B or if it is education, you are not to not know, right? Today it's permeating all forms of institutions and work, right? So later I'll be showing you a video about how it actually is changing, right? So some of the AI tools that is very popular for work here, if you'd like to consider, you can Google about this as well. ChatGPT is, of course, everyone knows about ChatGPT. Then we have Claude, Bing Chat. It's pretty good at natural language processing and can throw you a lot of help in terms of documentation, writing, right? And content creation is very good in terms of videos and images, right? You can use Jasper, Writer, Notion AI. Spreadsheets, you have numerous. And then meeting recordings, of course. Meeting recordings today, if you record your meeting, it can be transcribed. So you don't really have to write minutes as much anymore, because if you can just get a transcription file in a document format, you can just translate that into a meeting minutes. And how easy is that, right? For personal productivity, right? So here's all the time saving and all the recording that you can do, audio editing, you can do Descript, Adobe, image creation. You can use Midjourney. Midjourney is quite popular to create a your avatar, right? So if you see my poster for this event, it's actually made, it's actually my AI poster, Midjourney, from Midjourney. I created it from Midjourney, right? So you can do the same as well. You can chat with PDF, You can have synthetic voices coming in. So you can totally use AI tools for much of your work. But what it requires is a little bit of patience, because you got to try a few to know which is it that you like and gives you the best result, because the tools are plenty out there, right? So the market is pretty crowded, and these are small tools which actually helps for individuals and entrepreneurs, not so much corporates and enterprises, because for corporates and enterprises, you need an entire solution, right? So when I work with corporates, I have to build an entire workflow of a role. For example, if it is, let's say I'm a data scientist, right? A data analyst. So I've got to build an agent which can mimic my work or can assist me, where, okay, I tell the agent to go and find this document from this repository, summarize that, and then give me a dashboard so that I can make a decision on what is the right information to present to the management, for example. So I need to build my own agent to do this, right? And that's exactly what you have to test as well for your own individual need, so that you'll be comfortable when it comes to your corporates and your enterprises on how to incorporate a certain workflow to replace a particular role, right? So that's what we do for corporates, right? So, but for these tools, please feel free to try as an individual, because you have to be comfortable with these tools, AI tools. You should try it and be comfortable with it and see what is it that you like, and continue using that for your own productivity and your own work, so that you have that experience before you can leverage that for the enterprise needs. Because when we talk about enterprise across industries and countries, the impact is only growing across all industry, right? We're talking about retail having the greatest impact from AI, right? The ability to do an AI wardrobe, online e-commerce. E-commerce has been the greatest driver of AI, because buying online today is very much in demand. However, their experience is still an issue, customer experience. So the business that can create a wonderful customer experience will be the business that will be competitive, will have the competitive advantage, right? So, because today the digital space is pretty crowded, e-commerce has become a norm, and there is so businesses are fighting, or in the demand-driven economy, where they have to gain consumer attention and creating a good experience using AI, where consumers can try out clothes, for example, fashion clothes, and how fashion is actually distributed or shared without having to walk into a store, right? And that is become a key advantage for retail to do. Of course, every other industry is also following the same trend, where they are taught with the idea of how they can incorporate and create an advantage for themselves using AI. Pharmaceutical, telecommunications, agriculture, insurance, high tech, oil and gas, public and social sector, automation. So you have lots of opportunities across all industry today, if you have this ability to leverage on AI skills for your need, for your skill. Of course, US leads in this race, right? However, followed closely by its competitor, China and UK and all that. So the Asian countries are probably at the lower rung, because we are still like exploring. And these are all the AI startups. So US has the highest AI startup in the world, right? That is because of the innovation culture that they have. But the rest of us are also doing quite well, right? So it is a viable opportunity for many startups. However, the race we've got to see between the tortoise and the rabbit, the hare. who will win the race, right? Ultimately, it takes holding power, a sustainability effort to continue to sustain and create value. That will be the startup that will win the race. So in organizations today across all industry, many are at AI assisted level. Many, especially in the global south, right? Global south is where it's not US, right? North America, US, the rest of us, global south. So a lot of us are in this space, right? In the organizations. AI assisted, we are using chatbots a lot, right? We are using chatbots. But quite a few are daring enough, bold enough to go AI augmented, where with their existing processes, they want to create recommendation engines. They want to try automation, right? So some percentage are doing that, and these are likely to be the movers, the shakers and the movers, right? The innovators. There's always in every industry, there is the innovators, and these innovators are bold enough to put in the investment to do this. The rest would want to watch it first on what happens before they do. So these are like, they are the followers, while the rest, a few of them are innovators. So they are AI enabled. And of course, AI driven, not many yet, but the potential is definitely there. But it comes in a incremental phase. You can't skip the phase, right? Because the maturity level, you got to mature, right? By starting off with being AI assisted, then moving on to be AI enabled, and then to be AI driven, where everything in your organization is driven by AI. Your products are AI, your marketing mix is AI driven, meaning people are there to working with machines, right? Creating digital products, for example, that's AI driven. Okay, I have some questions here. Yeah, I have no problem sharing the presentation. And how do you access and find the AI tools? Well, you can just Google up, right? These are the examples that is in my slide. So you just have to Google up these names: ChatGPT, Cloud, Bing Chat, Notion AI. You just Google up, the software will appear, and you just download the free version and try it out. Okay. Okay, I have another question. How can augmented reality be applied to digital marketing when people are still learning about digitalization? Now, augmented reality is for the consumers. It's an option for consumers. If you would like to have a certain positioning in the market, right? If you're a fast fashion company, for example, and you'd like to have a market leader positioning, right? So you may toy around with creating augmented reality for your fast fashion line, a specific fast fashion line, while the rest of your business, which is to cater to the regular images, can be the business as usual. So I would say that many businesses are putting aside AR, AI to the R&D side of things, which could be investment of where they're investing 10 to 20% of their time for the content creation, for the, whatever necessary, while the remaining 80% of their investment is, of course, towards the business as usual. So this is how I see businesses actually leveraging R&D element, right? R&D element to the concept of business as usual. So that way you don't cannibalize, or you manage the risk of tinkering with something new. Yeah. Okay. Has AI been adopted for race? Yes, it has. It has been adapted for race and different skin tones. It has multiple versions of skin tones, so that's not a problem at all. You can try that out. Right. So, any further questions? So this is a little bit of explanation about if you had been listening earlier when I spoke about machine learning. Machine learning, like I said, the X is the input, and then you do the conversions and transformations, and you do standardization, and then you get an output. This is the process part of it, right? But in deep learning, you don't know, it's a black box. Okay, just like how our brain works, it's a black box. There are multi-layer perceptron network changes that happens inside here. And finally, your output comes out. So deep learning is more black box kind of learning, just like how the brain is. And that's what AI works. That's how AI works. Just like a child, you don't know what happens in the child's mind, right? But you know, given a certain feed, it can process it in different ways. So that is exactly how deep learning is. It's mimicking human brain and human behavior. And it produces the output, right? So that the difference between machine learning and deep learning, that is what machine learning is what we call a white box technique, right? White box technique where you know precisely it's a regression model. You know the X is this and you know your Y is that. And using your multiple X factors, and you can predict the Y, the element of Y. Are there any biases that have been? Yes, there are many biases when using AI, which you have to watch out for, actually, to tell you frankly. There is the gender bias, there is the race bias that happens, because this bias is because of the learning data set, the training data set. The AI is trained on a certain data set, which may not be sanitized for such biases because of organizational culture, for example. Like in a particular organization, you have a particular race or a particular gender or a particular qualifications are more dominant versus others. And these dominance may lead to biases. And these biases are inherent in the algorithms because it trains from the data set, which is biased data set. Right. So until and unless the developer is standardizing the dominance of the data, then AI will be biased. So this is where I would say that you have to pay very, very important attention to how your medical data is being processed, your employment data is being processed, right? Because there could be a certain bias element to it, right? And this is not because the AI itself is biased, it's because of that historical data of the organization is such, which is filled with human judgment, right? So the machine is not the problem, but the data it's learning from is filled with bias because it's organizational data, right? It's what people post, it's what people hire, and those biases are kind of human judgment. So we have to flag it actually now manually. Like when we experience it or when we see that happen, we got to flag it. So this is a very good question because in the EU, European Union, they have the AI law to mitigate this type of risks and biases. Specifically, look into biases created by machines. Yeah, but the other countries, because EU is always sort of like the innovator in terms of a law. So we are all actually following the European Union's AI law quite closely to understand what would discrimination be like and how should we prevent ourselves from being discriminated against. Yeah. Okay, good question. And so if you're not very comfortable with AI and machine learning, there is this open data source, which I would always recommend everyone, whether it's a young student or an educator from any industry, starting with the understanding how data actually helps in building products. For example, you want to use data to do better in business. So you got to understand the fundamentals of how data is, what model is. I would suggest you go to Kaggle. You can just type kaggle.com and learn how people actually build models, AI models, machine learning models, right? And you can see many examples because it's a community of data scientists and data analysts. So it's a very good place to start reading actual examples of how people build stuff, right? So you don't read it from the books. Books are kind of outdated. I find the Kaggle to be more like a live platform of understanding how a community sort of, provides support, right? Okay, I have a question. In the Global South, are there policies have been drafted to manage and legislate this technology? Well, I would say that at the moment, nothing is as comprehensive as what EU has done. So we'll probably adopt some parts of it from the EU framework, right? But in the Global South, in terms of a lot of the work actually goes into framing how AI is used in education industry more than other industry. Because AI writing, machine writing, all that is coming to the forefront. And because of that, the education industry has responded. With Turnitin, which is our plagiarism check, has got the AI writing detection ability. Yeah, so that is where the Global South is actually very much focused on at the moment. No worries. Any other questions? Okay, while you think about the question, I'd like to play a video of an initiative that we are currently working on how to close the gap between the human skill and the AI skill. So I'd like to play this video for us to watch for a bit. Please let me know if you can't hear it.
In the past few months, AI has changed the game faster than anything that has come before. In the past few months, AI has changed the game faster than anything that has come before. First came ChatGPT. Then, in the past few months, AI.
Are you able to hear? Okay, I've shared the sound and optimized.
We can hear.
All right. Okay, let me continue.
Has changed the game faster than anything that has come before. First came ChatGPT, then plugins, and now AutoGPT, which makes it possible for AI to complete tasks on its own based on an objective. But these tools often require development, with AI often working itself into a corner. It's also inaccessible to large enterprises looking to implement them quickly at scale within organizational constraints. Hugging Face, OpenAI, and others provide AI hosting with over 100,000 models to choose from. However, these platforms are developer-centric. Our focus is on making AI accessible to the average business layperson. As a business-centric platform, this opens us up to a far broader audience. Introducing Blackbox AI. We envision a no-code future where AI works alongside humans, with workflows useful for businesses to get things done. The market size is massive, applicable to everyone that has an employee. AIs negotiate with each other while being validated by humans. Human validators ensure their AI personas meet objectives, workflows, and represent their unique tone and working style so that accuracy is ensured. AI employees complete tasks while checking in with human counterparts. These AI employees can also negotiate with other AIs in the organization to find alignment. This new human plus AI style of work resembles a traditional organization, but with less bureaucracy and at a much lower cost. Employee productivity grows by 10x and alignment means faster decision-making. As organizations adopt these tools, the network effects embeds the platform into everyday roles and workflows. Our vision is to revolutionize the way businesses operate by making AI accessible and useful, creating a world where humans and AI work together in harmony, unlocking unlimited potential. We can offer businesses the power of AI without the hassle. Join us in shaping the future of work. Together, we can achieve greatness.
Hey, thank you for watching. That's a small effort that we're actually working on to help enterprises to close the gap between having the competency of running a very productive business versus using only human to actually deliver to the work, to the business products or the output. So this is the initiative that I'm working on to bridge the gap between human and AI, where human and AI can work in a harmonious manner and businesses can have good cost savings and revenue generation at the same time, right? Because it is quite costly also for businesses to look at hiring an employee with a certain skill set. And this is an alternative that actually the businesses are exploring. Okay, so that would be the end of my presentation. I can take questions and any discussions now. I have okay, there's a question there. Okay, hang on. With okay, hang on. Right, this is I'm just looking up the word AFCTA, Continental Free Trade Area, African Continental Free Trade Area. Okay, very good question. So how do I see AI management understandable to the masses, right? That's the question. Well, in terms of a free trade zone, this would involve businesses, right? Okay, we're talking about businesses. So it could be a B2C or a B2B business. And businesses actually should be able to do better in terms of their business revenue generation or their cost saving because of AI. Now, this would be a very important segment, the enterprise segment, rather than going directly to the masses, right? Because the business segment, which comprises of small, medium enterprises or small, medium industries and other types of sizes of businesses, they would be always looking for alternatives for technology automation to innovate, to sell better, to do better promotions, right? So AI tools can be incorporated to help them do these business drivers, right? Because these are their business drivers. These are their business functions. So if you could get customer support, for example, automated with AI, and they will be able to actually have better customer support, more efficient customer support, right? Versus going the regular approach of call center, for example, then they will be able to stand out in terms of their product and their business and their branding because of improved customer productivity. So ultimately, I would say that incorporating in AI and managing AI should be part of a business function, right? Should be part of a regular business function to help them scale the cost and revenue better, right? So that's where the starting point is the most important. That would be the most important starting point. This enterprise segment, or the B2B segment, or the B2C segment, right? And then as people experience AI support, then there will be that comfort and you'll be more understandable to people, to the rest of the consumers. Okay. Okay, any other questions?
Are there any other questions for Dr. Geetha? I think your presentation was very informative. So I think everyone got the knowledge that they needed.
That's
Thank
very
you
good.
for joining us. Any last comments or questions?
Shall I share the slides in the Dropbox here?
Yes, of course.
So should I share the slide directly here? Should be okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to upload.
And Doctor, if anyone has any additional questions to ask you afterwards, if you don't mind leaving your email address, that would be great too.
Okay, let me add my email address to my slides. Just a minute, please. Right. I'm just populating my name into the slides. So feel free to let me know if you have any question while I do that. Bye. Right, done. Okay, can you all see the slides yet?
It hasn't uploaded yet, unless alternatively, I do have everyone who's attended email addresses. I can send it through to them directly. That's a better option.
All right, it's uploading. Let's see whether it gets shown in the chat box.
Okay.
Let's see. A minute.
There we go.
Is it there?
Yeah. So you can download it directly from the chat box. Okay, I think no one has any questions. They're all very thankful. So thank you so much, Dr. Geetha, for joining us today and giving our audience a very informative presentation. We really appreciate your time. And if anyone wants to reach out to Dr. Geetha, her details are in the slides. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Hopefully, we'll see you in our next session, which starts at 11 a.m. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, Nabila. Thank you very much, everyone. Very pleased to see you and wish you a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Life is a journey. We are all traveling. Who'd wonder, here I have been traveling. Life is a journey. We are still traveling. Who'd wonder, we are all still traveling. Anango mayorira nato terera Buda izirango menato pembera Ube you would do kuwana Regulate my friend Anango mayorira nato terera Anango mayorira nato terera Buda izirango menato pembera Ube you would do kuwana Break a leg, my friend. Can I go mayorita? Not so terrible. Life is a journey. Yeah, we are all traveling. Wonder go. Here I have been traveling. Oh, life is a journey. Now we are still traveling. What we do and I go, yeah, we're all still traveling. And I'm going mayorita not so dirty, Voda yizira ngonena so pembera iwe.